it's Nancy today. I just thought I would have a little moment with you. So, I was going to say, people often dread winter. Oh no, it's going to snow. But you know what? In the autumn, it can be quite dark in the daytime. Like this is 9 o'clock in the morning, right? The clouds can be very heavy. There's a few things that happen only at this time of year. Like, for instance, the raindrops. If you can see these raindrops, they're coming down really fat and splattering. So actually it's wet snow. Of course, when the early season, when the ground is not frozen yet, or if you live in the south, if it snows and the ground is not frozen, then it'll be slick because it will melt. And if you get a bunch of it, it'll be really slippery. So be careful. Anyway, that's one of the things about this time of year. Another time, before the snow comes, at night when it's cloudy like this, you have dark and rainy nights. It was a dark and rainy night. Well, there's a lot of them in the autumn, especially up here in Canada, down here in Canada. A lot of people live up in the north, which is much further than this. Anyway, well, blah, 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 in Canada. So when you go outside at night, it is totally black. When you can't see any stars or moon, it's just totally black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. But you know what? And that is especially, it can be bothersome to people that get up early and are gone all day and come back late. So in that case, if you're gone before about, now that they've changed the clock, so it's 7 o'clock, it's still dark. Is that right, Willem? It was getting light at 7, but now it's getting light at 8. Is that right?
No.
Because we fall back, so that the time changes back. So it's 6. It's getting light at 6. So by 8, it'll be light. Is that right?
Yeah, it's getting darker earlier in the afternoon.
And then it's dark about 4:30 now. Anyway, it was easier when it was dark at 5:30. Now it's dark at 4:30, and so by the time it's like 6 o'clock, I feel like it's almost 11. Anyway, so I was going to say something about that. Oh yes, so when you go outside in the early morning or in the evening, it's now dark. And at this time of year, if it's rainy, it'll be dark, really dark. And then, of course, you'll have all those reflections on the road of all the lights of the cars, which makes it very hard to see. But if you look at the reflections to see and use them as your guiding lights instead of the lines on the roads, generally that's a good idea. Unless it's really foggy or a bad storm, then you may be following somebody who's going into the ditch. You have to always be careful of these things. But anyway, but as soon as the snow comes, if there's white on the ground, then you don't have those dark and dreary nights. It's always a bit light. It's really nice. And you can easily see where the road is too, because they've plowed it on the road, or people have driven on it and the snow is gone. Or it's not frozen yet, so it won't stick. I don't know why I'm telling you these details, but I just thought that they would be very important to know. Now, in the summer, when you look at the clouds in the summer, you have these beautiful, puffy little clouds. All these puffy little clouds that are just hanging over your picnic areas and the beach or whatever. But in the autumn, you get thick clouds or fleeting clouds, like clouds that are moving really fast. You'll have blue sky, and then you'll have clouds and rain, and then you'll have blue sky and then clouds and rain. Those those are on the nice days. Other days are just completely white. So on days like that, I close the curtains because it's more beautiful in the house with the curtains closed than if you let all that dim light in. That's what I found. If you have white curtains, bright curtains, makes it cheerful, but that stuff can be pretty dreary to look at outside. Anyway, so those are two things I wanted to let you know about. That when it snows and it splats like a wet snowdrop, a snowflake, it makes about 10 or 20 little dots instead of one raindrop. And when the clouds go by, they fleet over in this time of year. They very fast and a lot of blustery weather. Very typical of October, November. There's a really cool song about the gales of November came early. And the ship they call, what is it, Gitchigumi? No, that was a different thing. Anyway, this was one of those ballads. The ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's a good song. I like that. It's rather sad. But it's the gales of November came early. It caught the ship. But it's the typical weather pattern. Some people say their favorite season is autumn. Well, I don't know if this is what they're talking about. Or maybe they forgot that this is part of it. But I think a lot of people that love the autumn really love the blue sky and the orange trees and all the colors of the trees look like fire as you drive down the road beside them. To me, that's the beautiful part of autumn. But I could never say that autumn is my favorite season. I think that really summer is my favorite season. But also, I love winter. I love winter when the snow is not that thick, so you can still walk without a lot of trouble. And then when it's thick, I like using snowshoes. Now that I have new hips, snowshoeing is quite difficult on your hips. My hips used to really be sore when I would go on my snowshoes. You know, if I hadn't been eating all that sugar, I don't think that I would have destroyed my hip joints. I think that the sugar did a lot of damage. It causes inflammation, and inflammation attacks the joints, and that's what arthritis is, you see. So I think that there was a definite link there. But of course, you wouldn't get me admitting that. The addiction was pretty big. Anyway, so I just wanted to share this stuff about autumn with you. That was a very long-winded way to talk. I suppose you might have fast-forwarded through this, or maybe you deleted it. I mean, changed it. Or maybe you listened enraptured by the words of this old lady on YouTube. Anyway, so if you liked this video, could you click one of those little like things and give me a comment about which is your favorite season? Okay, see you down below. Goodbye.